up, y'all? This is Will. Hey, I'm just going to talk about domestic violence real quick, man. Being someone who grew up watching domestic violence, meaning growing up watching at one particular time my father, abused my mother physically, and then to watch her when we moved to Ohio as little kids, to see other boyfriends as a young kid abused my mom. My mom had boyfriends who not just would abuse her, but they would abuse me and my brother too. So, I mean, that was a part of that situation growing up. And that was part of my paradigm. But I never, wanted to be an abuser or anybody like that. Me particularly when I was growing up, and I had a girlfriend in high school, I was cheated on, and I didn't have a male around, or even my mom really. I didn't talk to her about my relationships or anything like that, but I didn't have anybody to help me emotionally process my feelings and give me advice on what to do next, because I stayed in an abusive relationship after that for a few years, when I should have moved on right after I was cheated on, but a lot of young kids, don't have that advice. And I became an abuser. When I was young, man, in high school, in my early 20s, I was physically abusive, mentally abusive. I was that type of young man. And I thank God that, once I got out of the cycle of abuse, me abusing it was just codependent relationship. You got young people, they think they are in love. They think they're going to be together forever. They think that this is the one. And then you do everything you can to try to hold on to that person. And then they do everything they can to try to hold on to you. And then y'all get caught up in a codependent relationship. That's not going to go anywhere. That's unhealthy. But you think you love this person. And that's the kind of situation I was in. I didn't have anybody to help me process how I was feeling. I didn't have anybody to talk to me and say, listen, you watched your mom be abused. You watched your mom get hit. Why would you want to be that person? And I didn't have anybody at that time. So I had to grow out of it. I had to smarten up. I had to figure it out, so I stand before people today, and has been for years, a man who does not abuse. But I see, I watch the videos. I have people who I coach, and, men and women who I coach. And, that's part of the conversation, the abuse and what's going on as far as abuse. And I get it. I understand it, man. And I thank God that I'm not at my age, feeling as though I have the right to put my hands on somebody, or feeling like I have the right to, abuse somebody. Because when you're an abuser, basically there's some unresolved issues that you have that you need to address, so you can give yourself permission not to be that person or not to do those sort of things. You have to be the one to give yourself permission. And I just want to say to anybody that's out there, man, that's in a situation where you're being abused, or you're in a situation where you're abusive, I just want to encourage you to get some help, because that's not really you. There's some things going on with you as far as your emotions and being able to regulate your emotions. And once you're able to regulate your emotions, you'll be able to stop doing what you're doing. But you got to seek help. And I just want to put that out there. You can't blame it on how you grew up. You can't say, well, I watched my mom get beat, so that's why I beat. That might have an influence, but you have to make your own decisions and your own choices. And the bottom line is, nobody has a right to put their hands on anyone, whether you a man or a woman. No one has their right to do that. And if you in a relationship where somebody is putting their hands on you, then love is not in the relationship. It's more of a codependent relationship opposed to being a loving relationship. You want a loving relationship. Man, there's life after abuse. I'm telling you, there's life after being an abuser, but you have to seek help. And the sooner you seek help, the better off you're going to be, because you know what, man, we got people that are teenagers who are abusers. We have people who are in their 20s, early 20s who are abusers, people in their 30s who are abusers. And I can go all the way up to the 80s. They got people, domestic violence that happens in nursing homes. So it's very bad, but particularly now, there's a lot more violence associated and a lot of crashing out particularly with young people. And I think that we need to reach the young people and talk to the young people about this domestic violence and abuse, whether that be young boys or young girls. So that's my little thing, man. Talk about how I overcame my situation and my dysfunction, because that's what it is a dysfunction, that you think that you have a right to put your hands on somebody. And it's not just the physical abuse, it's the mental abuse also, making a person feel a certain way so you can manipulate them or control them. So any relationship like that is not a relationship worth having and not a relationship worth being in. So I just want to stop it right there, but I'll speak more on it coming up. I'm gonna start doing some lives, so y'all start looking out for that. But I just wanted to say that one thing, that if you're in an abusive relationship, seek help today, please.